Hello and welcome back to another short bonus video for La Vera Sibilla Level 1 course. This is actually a requested video. I'm going to demonstrate my process for shuffling and drawing the Sibilla cards. I always start out with one or two riffle shuffles. This is a riffle shuffle. My grandmother told me when I first started learning to read cards that it's important to riffle shuffle between readings because it breaks up the energy. Any residual energy from the reading prior, it breaks it up so that you don't carry it over to the next reading. And although I'm not as superstitious as my grandmother was, I do still do this. I mean, it's still very much a part of my tradition. Then I do the overhand, just an overhand shuffle. And invariably what happens is one or two or sometimes more of the cards will fall or fly out. I'm sure you've all experienced that happening when you're shuffling. And watch, it's not going to happen now, right? But I want to demonstrate this. There we go. And what I do is I pick the card up and I put it back into the deck without worrying which way it is, whether it's upright or reversed. I don't even think about it. I just reach out, pick it up, and put it back in. Normally it falls, here's another one. Normally it falls face down, and I just pick it up and put it back in the deck. And that's really how I get my reversals. I don't purposely manipulate the deck. I mean, I realize that I am, in a way, subconsciously manipulating the deck, but that's okay because I feel like the energy and the spirits that work through me work through my subconscious. So I'm perfectly okay with that. I have faith and trust in the cards that they will turn up reversed when they need to in a reading. And sometimes several cards will turn up reversed while I'm shuffling and they won't come out in the reading. But they'll come out in a later reading because they're not meant for the person I'm reading next. They're meant for the person I'm reading after that. So I never straighten my deck. But I always, and this is important, otherwise you're going to end up with a lot of reversals. I always return my cards back to the upright position when I place them back in the deck. So I do the overhand shuffle while I focus my mind on imprinting my question into the cards. And when I feel ready, I just take the cards and I spread them out on the table. Now, this is traditionally the way that the Sibilla cards are drawn for a line read. Whether it's a line of 5 or Settanati, a line of 7, or you could do a line of 9 or even a line of 11 or a line of 13. For those readings, the cards are traditionally drawn one at a time from the deck spread out on the table. And then I grab whatever card is calling to me, whatever card catches my attention as I quickly scan them with my eyes. And there's my reading. I didn't get any reverse cards, although I know that I probably have reverse cards in the deck. I did not get any in the reading, and that's okay. I'm going to make sure that when I put my deck back together, that I do put the cards back in upright. And then I'm happy to go on my way. I'll usually do a quick riffle shuffle after a reading, and then I'll do it again before a reading. Now, speaking of the riffle shuffle, if you're using this deck, the Masangini deck, riffling is a little awkward. These cards are very thick, they're plastic, and it's almost like trying to shuffle a stack of credit cards. So I usually don't riffle shuffle these. I mean, you can, but it takes quite a bit of effort. and I usually end up making a mess with cards flying all over the place. Too many. So usually I will just do the overhand shuffle when I use these cards, but I learned a secret, which you probably already know. Many years ago, I was working a psychic fair in St. Petersburg, Florida, and there was another reader there who read playing cards, and that was unusual because tarot was all the rage this was back in the 90s. And tarot was all the rage, and you didn't find too many playing card readers, and so it was kind of surprising that this woman also read playing cards. Her system was different than mine, but she was a good reader. We ended up swapping readings that day, and I was really impressed with her reading. But anyway, she told me that you can get the same effect of breaking up the energy by just giving a good whack on the table. You know, whack your cards on the edge of the table, and that will break up the energy. And so sometimes I'll do that if I think of it. As I said, I'm not really nearly as superstitious as my grandmother was. I mean, my grandmother, when I would get a new deck of cards, she would make me bury it in the ground overnight. She called it grounding the cards, to clear it of all the energies that were on it from manufacturing and shipping and whatever. And I really did. I used to do that with every new deck. But over the years, I stopped doing that, and I never noticed any difference in how my cards work. So it's really just tradition. All right, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope now you have a better understanding of my process for shuffling. Now, please understand that this is a guideline only. I'm not suggesting that this is the way you have to do it. Traditionally, the cards are spread out face down and drawn one at a time randomly for a line reading. But if you feel strongly and the idea resonates with you for drawing off the top of a shuffled deck, then go right ahead and do it and give it a try and see how it works for you. And if it works for you, that's wonderful. If you're not getting the results that you hoped for, try it the traditional way and see how that works for you. I'm all about, I mean, these systems, they're alive in a sense, just like language is alive. And reading the cards is kind of similar to learning a foreign language. In a lot of cases, you're learning, you know, the cards themselves are like words, and you put them together into a spread, like a sentence. And language is alive. It changes. It grows. And I think that although the basic understanding and knowledge in a traditional system, particularly the European systems, I think that that is always the foundation that you need. But then you grow beyond that. You develop your own reading style. Certain cards become very personal for you. And they mean something maybe over and beyond. You know, the thing about Sibilla, and I don't know that this is probably true for tarot, and it is true for playing cards. It's probably true for all of the different systems. But with Sibilla, everything on the planet, everything in the world can be represented by a card or a combination of cards. Everything. And in order to be able to do that, you have to understand the imagery and how the imagery works. For example, I had surgery, kidney surgery, about 2 years ago, and I was not feeling all that well, and I'm actually looking for a card here, and I had trouble laying down in bed and sleeping because I had, you know, a wound on my back, and I had a tube and all of that nonsense, and I was very uncomfortable. And so I laid the cards to see the Sibilla. I laid the Sibilla to see what the outcome would be. Would I heal okay? Would I have a fast recovery? And I can't find the card I'm looking for because I'm busy yapping. This is the card I'm looking for. This card came out. And the thing that caught my eye on this card, if you look at the image, you see a young woman, and she's offering a chair. this card represents friendship, it represents a friend, it represents visiting a friend's home. It's a friendly person and a hospitable person, and she's offering the chair. And what happened was, after I had my surgery and my brother found out that I was having difficulty sleeping, he let me use his recliner. He had a really nice recliner that he let me use, and I was able to sleep in the recliner. And I got that from the card. The card told me that I would be offered a seat. I would be offered a place to sit. So that's just one small example of how you can pick up just about anything with these cards if you get to know the meanings and you get comfortable with the images. All right, I talked way longer than I expected to, and I rambled a bit, I guess. I apologize for that. I do hope that this video has been helpful, and I will talk to you again soon. Happy reading. Bye-bye for now.